Game 7 last night. Legacies made in a Game 7, except for a Game 7 like last night, which was a game for about a quarter and a half. Go ahead.
OKC took care of business last night against the Nuggets, smacked them by 32 points. Denver was obviously dealing with injuries with MPJ. They were neutralizing Jokic. Do you think that this has any implications with the MVP debate? Where's your head at after this series?
Well, so listen, it doesn't have any implications for who should have won it or whatever, because it's obviously regular season award, but it is a good time to stop and take stock of what the two MVP candidates did in this series. And so I want to start on the Thunder side, then we'll get to the Joker side. This was sorry to be cliche, but a coming-of-age moment for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's one that I think they needed. I don't think it would have been good for them to cruise through round 2 the way they cruised through round 1. Because there is going to be adversity at some point in the playoffs. Now they have faced it, and they faced down the best player in the world and blew him out in a Game 7 in their building. And there aren't many places with a legitimate home court advantage left in this league, but Oklahoma City might be one of them. The college-like atmosphere, how loud it gets, it reminds you a bit of the old Oracle where nobody, won playoff games there for 5 years that wasn't named LeBron James. And so they needed a real test, and they got one in the form of the Denver Nuggets. Shai, here's the thing. Shai was good in last year's round 2 when Luka and the Mavs beat him. It was his co-stars who were not good in that round, and you were worried that was happening again this year. Shai in round 2 this year gave you basically right around his regular season numbers. He was 36-6 on 53-33 splits. So Shai didn't, he didn't raise his game to a new level, but it didn't drop off. The worry was Jalen Williams, who was bad in last year's round 2, was playing poorly in this year's round 2. And then in the quarter that, I don't want to say saved the Thunder's season, because maybe without that quarter, they still win the game. But in the quarter that ended last night's game, or yesterday afternoon's game, and in the biggest quarter of their season up to that point, the second quarter of Game 7, Jalen Williams showed up to the party. Now, Jalen was really good in Game 2 or Game 3? I don't remember of this series. But overall in this series, he had been terrible. Despite the game, what was it? It was Game 3 performance. He was still shooting like 32% from the series, less than 20% from 3, and struggling massively. And then last night he has 24, 5, and 7, has, in the mid-teens in that second quarter, and the game was never close again. And now if you're Oklahoma City, you feel like you are more than prepared for a little bit of adversity in round 3 against Minnesota, a Minnesota team that I think is super live. Now, you guys know, despite DeMonte's scurrilous allegations of team hopping by me, once my championship pick, the Lakers, were eliminated, I said, I think Oklahoma City is going to win the title. I have not strayed from that. I had no choice but to change championship picks. My champion got clocked in round 1. So I still think Oklahoma City is going to beat Minnesota. But I think Minnesota is going to present very different problems for Oklahoma City, to the tune of you are going from playing a 4-man team in Denver to an 8-man team in Minnesota, and a team that wants to run with you. What Oklahoma City reminded everyone of yesterday is they have the ability to go on a 15-2 run unlike any team in recent memory, because their 15-2 run is not predicated on getting hot from three. Their 15-2 run is predicated on getting hot defensively and just sending wave after wave of young plus Alex Caruso athletic defenders at you and wreaking havoc. And if you guys remember, the day after Thanksgiving, I went to Lakers Thunder in LA. And I came on here and said, man, Oklahoma City's ability to just go to whoever they want on their bench, and those guys being plus defenders, is just a pitch no one else in the league has. And so the fact that you get, 20 plus minutes off the bench from Caruso, who was unbelievable, Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins, who were both good defensively, even if they struggled offensively. You don't even play Isaiah Joe. You don't really even have to play Jalen Williams. That's 10 guys, plus your starting five, obviously. And so I thought Shai was outstanding yesterday. I think Shai has now proven over his relatively limited playoff career, but still a playoff career, that he's not the dreaded playoff dropper, which was anytime a guy makes so much money off the free throw line, you worry, is he going to have the Harden, Embiid playoff drop? And in now back-to-back postseasons. Go ahead,
you say he's still getting pretty good whistles, though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I was about to say, the whistle didn't really taper off like we probably felt it would in the postseason. I feel like he's been getting pretty consistent whistle.
It's 100% correct. In fact, he is, in the regular season, he averaged 8.8 free throw attempts per game in 34 minutes per game. In the postseason, he's averaging 8.7 free throw attempts per game in 36 minutes per game. So the free throw attempts are basically identical. The minutes are slightly up. So he's maybe getting, on a per minute basis, like 5% less calls. Right. But he's still, it has not been that, he hasn't been able to get to the line, which I thought, I had, I guess, 3 pockets of OKC skepticism. The first one was, is Shai going to get the same whistle? He has thus far, for the most part. The second one was, are the co-stars going to be co-stars? That one looked like it could cost them this series, and then it didn't. And now you've got to feel like Jalen Williams is going to go into the next round super confident. And Chet, listen, I don't think Chet is ready yet, and I don't know if he's ever going to be. But
been more consistent than Jalen Williams, though.
Say it again.
I said he's been more consistent than Jalen Williams. Sorry.
He's been more consistent, but his peaks haven't been I just don't think Chet's ready to be the second option on a champion. Like, you're totally right about his consistency. You can basically pencil him in for 13-9, 14-10 every night, but we're now 10 playoff games in. He doesn't have a 25-point game. In this series, he didn't have a 20-point game. So I just don't think Chet's ready to ascend past Jalen Williams as the number 2, but he's been fine as the number 3, and his rim protection is legitimate. So that was the second concern. And the third concern was less of a concern and more of a, analysis question, however you want to put it. How valuable was the depth going to be when rotations get shortened? And the answer is, it was super valuable because aside from the overtime game, DeMonze, Shai never played 40-plus minutes. They were able to give Shai real rest, and you saw, listen, Denver was going to lose that game even without this happening. But you saw yesterday when Denver tried to give Jokic a break, it was an 8-0 run in 45 seconds. It was just like all the Cleveland years with LeBron, where you try to steal him minutes of rest at the end of the first or the beginning of the second, and whatever lead you built up with him on the court gets evaporated in 90 seconds. It is still beyond me why no team has coached no team that is so reliant, and we haven't seen anybody as reliant on one player the way the Nuggets are on Joker since Cleveland era LeBron. It is baffling why the strategy is not, while our guy is on the bench, we want to play as slow as possible. That way, we are minimizing the number of possessions that occur while our guy's out. Denver didn't do that yesterday. They give up a basket, race down court. Russ throws it away, give up another basket, race down court. Russ misses a shot. All of a sudden, it's a 6-0 run. We're not even at the 11-minute mark of the second quarter. So listen, credit to OKC. It would have been really cool if the NBA had taken my advice and given Shai his MVP award before that game. It would have added a little more je ne sais quoi to it. They didn't do that. Instead, I would imagine he's going to get his MVP award before game 2 of the conference finals. And you bet your ass, man, Anthony Edwards, even though he was nowhere close to the MVP conversation, will take that personally. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see that.